Sophie posted this video of her in red having a moment on the court.
That moment right there. Sophie Cunningham posts a throwback in fever red. Caitlin Clark replies with just 3 words, "It's time to run it back." Simple, right? But Sophie fires back. "Only if you cuddle and make me dinner twice a week." Funny on the surface, but here's the kicker. For Indiana's front office, this playful exchange is far from casual. Behind the laughs, a high-stakes scenario is unfolding. One that could cost the Fever one of their most valuable players, and it has nothing to do with basketball on the court.
Been a while since we just talked straight Fever action, but free agency is leaving a lot of questions. Kelsey Mitchell, Sophie Cunningham, Chloe Bibby probably won't be on this team, although I wish we could figure out how to get Red back on the team. Yeah, I would appreciate that. As always, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you check to see if you're still subscribed. YouTube is still.
Free agency is on hold, and CBA negotiations are dragging into their second month with no end in sight. The season is set to expand to 50 to 54 games, up from 44 last year. But here's the story nobody's covering: the expansion draft rules. Indiana has to protect their core players from Portland and Toronto, but the standard protection limit is just 5 players. Here's where it gets tricky. Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham are both unrestricted free agents, leaving the Fever to protect only 6 players total. Clark, Boston, Hall, and Smith are automatic locks. That's 4 spots taken. That leaves 1 or maybe 2 protection slots for the rest of the roster. And that's where tension is building, because publicly, several players have already stated they want to return, but there might not be space for everyone.
Many Indiana Fever fans want nothing more than for their team to bring Sophie Cunningham back in free agency this winter, whenever the WNBA league office and its players agree to a new CBA. Of course, Cunningham isn't the only member of the Indiana 2025 team that fans are clamoring to bring back, as Kelsey Mitchell is just as beloved among the fan base.
Let's address the obvious distraction first. The comment section under that Instagram exchange immediately spiraled into exactly what you'd expect from some corners of WNBA social media. Someone actually asked, "Has Caitlin Clark ever cheated on her boyfriend Connor?" All in response to a harmless joke between teammates. This is the reality of covering this league. Normal, playful banter between players can instantly be twisted into drama that has nothing to do with basketball. For clarity, Caitlin Clark is in a committed relationship. Sophie Cunningham is heterosexual. They were simply friends and former teammates joking around online. That's it. Moving on.
A scrap. And for some of us, we appreciate that. Where was the rest of y'all? And yeah, y'all all going to keep getting called out until you show that fire. The good news is Indiana doesn't necessarily have to choose when it comes to getting Cunningham or Mitchell. Both players have expressed interest in returning. The Fever's front office will have enough money and flexibility to re-sign them, both if they so desire. Well, here's the problem.
Al, let's break down why this matters for roster construction. Sophie Cunningham wasn't just a WNBA star in 2024. She was the second most searched female athlete in the entire United States, period. Not second in the league, second in the country. She hosts a podcast on the Volume Network, regularly appears on major media platforms, and has built a fan base that stretches far beyond basketball. Here's the kicker. She achieved all of this after just 1 season with the Fever. 1 year in Indiana, and she became one of the most recognizable female athletes in America. That's not just talent or charisma. It's the power of platform and exposure, amplified by playing alongside Caitlin Clark.
But they have to protect her. If they leave her out there to be drafted, just from a pure marketing and business standpoint, if you're a new franchise, you draft her first thing. Because she's one of the few players in this league that's got a fan base. That's all there is to it. has her own high profile podcast on the Volume. And she's in on.
But there's another factor you won't see in marketing reports or Google search data. Watch last season's tape when Caitlin Clark got hit. When opponents took cheap shots at the league's biggest star, the only Fever player consistently stepping up was Sophie Cunningham. She wasn't talking after the fact in post-game interviews. She was protecting Clark in the moment, physically standing up to anyone who challenged her. That kind of impact doesn't show up on a stat sheet. It's about team chemistry, locker room culture, and having your stars back when the game gets physical. The Fever had teammates with better stats than Cunningham, but nobody else brought that same presence.
And here is this. Has Caitlin Clark ever cheated on her boyfriend Connor? Guys, I'm not justifying hitting that. Wow. Even the fans, I mean, we found this out. The fans of this league, God, they're ate up with agenda. Always got to make something, of course. You see that. They want to make this into a Sophie and Caitlin. They're clowning around with each.
Let's break down the expansion draft scenario, because this is where the Fever front office faces a high-stakes decision. If Indiana re-signs both Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham before the draft, they're forced to protect them. That immediately uses up 2 of their 5 or 6 protection slots. But what if they leave Sophie unprotected, either by choice or circumstance? That's risky. Portland and Toronto are building new franchises from the ground up. They need players who can sell tickets, generate buzz, and bring instant star power. Sophie Cunningham fits that description perfectly. She's not just a solid rotation player. She's a marketing asset and a fan magnet. If she's exposed in the expansion draft, there's no question she gets picked, likely in the first round, and maybe even first overall.
Disappointed if Sophie Cunningham is not on this team. I can tell you that right now. I can't remember exactly how many they can protect. I think it's 6. It's 5 or 6. So, Rhodes, you're supposed to know that, really? I mean, no. I've made videos on it. I think it's 5 or 6, but I'm not going to look it up because I just brought it up impromptu. Tell me what you think. Sophie and Caitlin, I feel like have to run it back.
Here's why this is such a critical decision for the Fever. This isn't just about Sophie Cunningham being a better player than whoever else they might leave unprotected. It's about understanding the business side of expansion drafts. New franchises don't just need talent. They need recognizable names that draw immediate attention. They need players who can generate fan excitement, dominate media coverage, and appear on podcasts or local radio to actually bring in an audience. Portland and Toronto are stepping into a league where Caitlin Clark just shattered attendance records and TV ratings, so they're going to target anyone who can create that kind of impact instantly.